Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Born to Succeed podcast, the number one podcast on the planet for helping you succeed on both a personal and professional level, where every podcast we bring you motivation, inspiration, faith, hope, and love, and we remind you that you are born to succeed. Hey, there she is.
Well, isn't that interesting?
It's crazy. Technology, you never know, right?
Well, I was getting my car looked at today, and he said, "Your car is really weird. You don't have us." I was like, "Well, it's 13 years old."
Yeah.
Yeah. So he's like the seatbelt. It doesn't have an airbag sensor or on the passenger side. So. It's like, They didn't have that back then.
Right.
Before you were born.
Right. I understand. Well, great to get you connected finally. That's awesome that we got you on. What I'll do is we'll just kind of edit this first part out once I go to make the podcast. And then, of course, I'll drop a little back music into it and put a trailer on the front and back. And then we'll type it up with all your information that you have given me in your PDF, and then anything else you would like in there as well. The only other thing I'm going to need is a picture, because I always put the picture of the guest whenever I do a podcast. So whatever picture you would like me to use, I will put that.
Can you pull the one off of the top of the paper I sent?
We can use that one if you want. Yes, ma'am.
That's my profile picture for the most part. It's off of the cover of my book.
Okay. We can absolutely use that one for the podcast then, if that's the one you want. Perfect. Well, I've got my wife here with me as well.
Hello.
Hi, Alyssa.
How are you?
Well, the way I say it, I am fabulous, and it's always a choice.
Yes,
right?
That's true. Every minute of the day, right?
All day, every day.
Right.
Yes, ma'am. Well, it's great to have you on. So what I'll do is I'll just kind of fire up a little quick introduction, and then after that, you just basically talk about whatever you want to. Obviously, you've given me some stuff here to work with, and we'll fire some questions at you. But basically, I always tell folks whenever we do a podcast, it's just really about you. So whatever you want to share, whatever, like your course that you're creating right now, Nana says so. If that's what you really want to put out there, then just make sure that you talk about that as much as you would like, because really it's just all about you. So, do you have any questions before we get started up?
Not really. I just I'm gonna probably mostly initially talk about the I am that your podcast you had recently about I am.
Yes, ma'am.
Tag onto that. You saw I put a lot of I ams in the
Yes,
on my
ma'am.
sheet to send you, right? So.
I did. I saw that. I love it. Yeah. So I thought, and that was just God speaking to my heart that day. And then, that's kind of what I do a lot of times. If I don't have a guest, then I'm just like, man, if something come my heart that morning, I just get up. I'm like, I'm just going to make a podcast. Here it is on my heart. And I do the same thing with YouTube videos. I don't really set out to make them. I'm just like, well, if I've got something on my heart, I better get it off. So I normally
Is there anything? Yeah. So do you do this? It's not scheduled or like on a regular time frame?
No, ma'am. No, I just started it. I started it January of last year, so it's been a little less than 2 years. And basically, I just started it right out of the blue. Didn't even know how to do a podcast. Barely had been listening to podcasts. And I was just inspired by, God had told me I need to start a podcast and write a book and do all these things. And so I just started a podcast last year. And my goal was to try to do at least one a week. And I fell short of that last year. I think I ended up doing 40 podcasts last year. And so after that, I just said, you know what? I'm just going to do one whenever. And it's no set time. I may do one here and one there, but it was just kind of one of those things of, if I have a guest, great. And if I don't, well, if God speaks to me, then I'll make a podcast. If not, then when I don't. So,
well, I love that. I love the flexibility and that you if you have an audience that's expecting it every Tuesday at 2:00, then that's one thing. But if it's more of a fly by the seat of your pants kind of thing, and
it is. I know so many people that do that, and I just hear them after a while. They talk about it as just like work. They're like, man, I know I got every Tuesday and every Monday and Wednesday, and I'm like, see, I don't want to do that. I want to give you my.
I don't want a new job. I don't want plenty of them.
Exactly, but I do want to put enough information out there to where every so often they're getting a new podcast, so they're not just going, gosh, he put out a podcast 6 months ago. It'd be great if he put out some new material. So that's why I try to do it. Whenever it's on my heart, I'm like, man, I need to get it out there today. So I try to make a short podcast. Sometimes they get a little bit out there, but that's why I always say, hey, I'm just flexible. Whatever's on there. Some of our podcasts, as I told you, as we were texting back and forth, have gone an hour, and some have gone 20 minutes. So I'm like, hey, whatever. If we're flowing, then just keep going, and if we get the information out, then we get it out. However,
my son and I are in the talking phase of doing a podcast. He listens to them all day, every day. He listens to podcasts all the time, and I don't. I hardly ever have noise on at all in my world. I don't watch TV, and I don't listen even in the car. If I'm driving for 5-6 hours, I won't even turn on anything. Most of the time, it's quiet.
Wow.
And so I'm an information gatherer, and I'm telling you, I collect people and I collect information. So I am watching things and reading and listening. Primarily right now, I'm getting a lot on Telegram, but So, and I had a radio show. I had a radio show, 2 radio shows, and one, it was charla.com. Charla A, the Charla A show, and then I got this word that said, change it to Charla Awakened. And 3 days, I'm like, awakened? What? So 3 days later, I got For Such a Time As This. So my show was Charla Awakened, For Such a Time As This, to just love people through the unsteady times we were having in 2015, which is certainly more so now. But
right.
Yeah. So and then I had a couple of TV shows that the Yes Lady with Charla A, and I'm not really doing that so much anymore. So there's never nothing to do. I want to do everything. So
right. Well, let me do a quick introduction real quick, and then we'll blast in here. All right.
Perfect.
So let me take a deep breath. Here we go. Welcome back to the Born to Succeed podcast with Michael and Alyssa Merritt, the #1 podcast on the planet for helping you succeed on both the personal and professional level. And today we are so honored to have a special guest with us, Miss Charla Anderson. And Miss Charla, she has an extensive list here. She is a Ziglar certified trainer. She is a 30-plus year flight attendant that's now retired. She had a radio and TV show. She is a coach. She's a speaker. She is a Nana, and she's got a course coming out soon. Nana Says So, because, hey, you got to listen to Grandma. So without further ado, we're going to bring Miss Charla on. How are you doing, Miss Charla?
I'm fabulous. It's always a choice, isn't it?
It is always a choice. Yes, yes. So we're so thankful to have you on today with myself and Alyssa.
Hello, how are you?
Yippee skippy. I'm excited. Thank you so much for having me.
I love that it's a choice, because you do have to make a choice every day, and sometimes it might be minute by minute depending on how you're coaching yourself.
Exactly.
Yeah. So Miss Charla, tell us a little bit, and I know I gave a little introduction there off of what I've got, but tell us a little bit about what you've done, in the past as far as your training and your show, radio show, TV show, stuff like that.
Well, I worked for Delta Airlines as a flight attendant, one of the best jobs in the world for me. For 34 years. I was an award-winning flight attendant, actually, which I don't think most people would think of that, but I got to carry the Olympic torch for the Olympics for Salt Lake City. Hugely honored to do that.
Right.
And so I really enjoyed that. And I had 3 children, and I had 3 stepchildren, and we were the the mission trip and the pool in the backyard house in the neighborhood. And so it was like a never a dull moment in my world most of my life.
Right.
And
barely time to take a breath, right?
I wanted to be Superwoman and Supermom. And
yeah, I understand
truly, the only thing I literally, I don't know how much I ever slept. There were days that I would not sleep at all.
Right.
I was flying all-nighters and coming in and getting the kids. I'd fly in and commute home from Dallas or Atlanta and then take the kids to church in uniform on Sunday mornings. And then, I'd be up 30 something hours every week for a few months at a time there. That a lot of crazy stuff was going on. Right.
Well, and then we always look back at those days and go, we wouldn't trade it for the world, right? We look at it and go, how did I do that? Oh my goodness.
I have no idea how I did it. I could not begin to imagine how I got, and then we had Thanksgiving and Christmas, and I mean, oh my gosh, I was always collecting teenagers and people, it's always had something else going on.
Right. And so now you had a radio and TV show back in the day, so tell us about those.
Well, I retired in 2008 and had no idea there was a networking world out there, that there were chambers and lead groups and all that kind of stuff, and kind of got into the networking world. And someone said, oh, that guy has a radio show. Ended up talking with him in a restaurant, and we were just hanging out, and the next week I had my own radio show, and I was like, wow. Charla, my name, is a derivative of to chat in Spanish. And then I found out on my birthday in 2012 that it is also a derivative of joy in Greek. Wow. And I just, that astounded me, because my signature was choose joy. I had a dog named Joy. I had a split-second moment of transformation from bitterness to joy, and then I find out my name means joy. Are you kidding me? And
That's
so,
awesome. Yeah,
and it's my personality as well, right? So I'm outrageously optimistic. So that's just was kind of a blessing, I suppose, to find out. But the radio show was just Charla A show, and I just talked, and then I ended up having guests, and then God gave me a word to change it to Charla Awakened, and I was like, huh. And then 3 days later, I got for the rest of it for such a time as this. So then I had changed it for the next year, and then I had a couple of TV shows. Just, I don't know. I don't have one I owe to for fame, right? I don't care about fame. And I find it ironic to have those things, because I don't watch TV and I don't listen to the radio. So I just kind of thought it was funny.
Yeah, now I know one of the guests you said you had on there was Mr. Bob Bodine, and Mr. Bob Bodine is just an incredible guy. Tell me a little bit about having him on. Oh yeah, well, he was on, I think, twice. It was funny because I was in an airport and he was in a different airport when we did one of the shows, and those were scheduled times. I mean, they were like, I had a studio running it, and so we were just kind of crossing in the wind. But Bob Bodine, I just loved him from the minute I met he and his wife in 2012, and they're very big Ziglar folks too. So he is awesome. I had Tom Ziglar on. I mean, we had some pretty great times back in that time. And then, sometimes it's just a season, and sure, that season just kind of moved on. I've written a book now. I wrote it. It's actually the end of 2017. I have a tiny book with a really big message, and it's called Candy Bar Hugs. It doesn't take much to make a difference. And there's a story about the Ziglars in there, but it's it's on Audible too. It's 25 minutes. It's a very small book, but I feel like it's got a good message, and a couple of other books in the works. I'm hoping soon. Yeah. So tell us about any courses that you're doing and working on. Very excited to
announce, I actually is a wait list if you choose to go to nanasaysso.com. I've been having these grandkids here. And I'm going to have another grandbaby. My daughter lives with me, and we're going to have a baby the end of November. So I'm very excited about that.
Congratulations.
Yes, congratulations.
But nanasaysso.com, you can just go and get on the wait list right now, and eventually that wait list will turn into the website. But I have been noticing, or maybe have you guys noticed, that there's a little confusion in our world, in our youth, in our oh man, it's really prevalent. And I was having the my 9 and 11-year-old, they turned that age this summer, and off and on a lot this last summer, and noticing that it's a challenge sometimes to get them to turn off their devices and to I just one morning they in 1 hour they were doing a game and TV and back and forth their little things, whatever. And one of them they were talking about, the first game was murdering, and the second, and the TV show was lying, and the third game was burning people up. And I said, look, I'm not going to be with you all the time, and I want you to learn critical thinking skills, so I want you to stop and think. In 1 hour you've talked about or learned about murdering, lying, burning people up. There's garbage in, garbage out. Geigo, you've got to stop and think if this is what you want in your world. And so I started this, I love you too much to let you. I love you too much to not call you out when you're disrespectful. I love you too much not to boot you outside to play.
That's fair.
And it'll limit your screen time. And so basically this whole course is going to be teaching parents and grandparents, Nana says so, life lessons, wisdom, and common sense to raise responsible citizens for our future, right? And to teach our children really critical thinking skills, basic manners, respect, and confidence to thrive and lead in an increasingly complicated and digital world, right? So that's kind of, I just kind of came, and I've been taking a course for course creation. By the way, this is the best thing I've ever done in my whole trying to be an entrepreneur here, is this course creation platform academy that I've just completed or am completing, and still, so I'll have a whole platform for all my courses and anything else I want to do in the future. I'm very, very, very proud of that. And it was the best teacher. I mean, it's been awesome. So if anybody wants to build a course, please contact me. And let's get you enrolled. In fact, today's date is October 12th, Columbus Day in 2021, right? So he's starting his new course. Enrollment ends on Thursday. So if you are interested in that is the best thing I have ever invested in for myself. And all of us all 20 or so of us, have in 2 months have built a platform, and it's really effective, and he's awesome. So.
Okay. Well, for those listening, as I always do, I will put Miss Charla's, all of her information, all the links that I have, the nanasaysso.com, all these things I'm going to put in the notes. So when you read the description of the podcast, that'll be there. So Miss Charla, I'll get you to send that to me as well, and we'll drop that in there as well. And that way anybody that wants it can have that link to click on.
Yes, it's an affiliate link, and he's from France. He's just the kindest, sweetest gentleman, and most generous teacher I've ever had. So can't say enough about it.
Well, we will put it in there. Excellent. So tell us, now I know you've got one book out or 2 books out?
So I have one book. It's called Candy Bar Hugs. It doesn't take much to make a difference. The next two books will be more. I've already got the covers made for them. So Split Second Transformation, Change Your Words, Change Your Life, 31 Daily Practices. So it'll be a small book with just 31 messages because our words matter. The third book is called Outrageously Courageous, Bold Faith, No Fear, Step Towards the Gun. Because I was robbed at gunpoint and I stepped towards them and said, "You need love," and they ran. So that'll be a whole nother story. So, because we get up on that today, but truly I had, and that leads me into what I thought I wanted to kind of share today, because your podcast that I happened to listen to about the I am recently, you're just like, I am affirmations.
Yes, ma'am.
Have you considered that when you say I am, the next word is who you are in that moment, literally. Right. So because you're saying I am, that is God in me, that is the breath of life coming in me when I take a breath. And when you say I am, it's who you are. So when I want to change your words, change your life, I want people to listen to themselves and understand that when I'm tired, I'm sick, I don't, the negative things. Yes, ma'am. And what if we just shifted that one word, tired, to I'm energized, I'm refreshed, I'm pumped. Right. That changing our words will change our lives. So when I stepped towards the gun and said, "You need love," and they ran, I had zero fear. Right. And the reason I had zero fear is because who I have been saying for years that I am is bold faith, no fear. Who I am is bold faith, no fear. I don't remember why I started saying it, but I'm telling you, when I literally had a gun at my forehead, give me your purse, give me your keys. I'd already stolen my other stuff. That was out of one hand. But when I stepped, I was able, without 1 ounce of fear, step towards them and boldly say, "You need love," or "Y'all need love," and they ran. Yeah. So I just don't know that I've heard other people say it that strongly and then practice it the way that I was led to practice it, right? I mean, Yes, ma'am. Who I am is bold, faith, no fear, right?
Right. And you talked about having young grandchildren. I have 2 daughters that are going to be 17 and 20 this year, and they are constantly on their games and the media as well. And so it is a challenge when they're older and they've grown up longer in this digital world. And I always have to remind them, because the games are killing, shooting, they're not positive things. And so then you hear it in their words, because they're not thinking, their unconscious is talking, right? Yes. And so just recently I just read in one of the Ziglar books, to have your unconscious words bring them about to your conscious talk. Yes. And so that way that what you're saying is, like you said, who I am. Yeah.
And recognizing literally I am is God in me. That is the great I am. That is God in me. He breathed life into us. And when you degrade yourself, when, Ziglar was a master at the positive, and we are in around people that are positive most of the time, right? But I hear it, I catch it in other people, and I'm like, hate's a really strong word right there for, somebody's, cutting you off or, whatever it is. So
Right.
Another way of looking at it as well is, I heard someone say one time, a master is one who blesses. And I'm going, well, whoa, that makes me a master, because I'm like, may you be blessed, may you be blessed, may you be blessed.
Yeah.
But and gratitude, of course, is the absolute key to a happy life. If I wake up in the night and I before I'm awake, right, I'm like, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. My whole experience of myself is gratitude. Yeah. And you just kind of step in and just be. Who I am is gratitude. Who I am is an abundant generosity. Who I am is bold faith, no fear. Who I am is outrageously optimistic.
Yeah.
That our world is getting better, not worse. And if all of us could not look with our eyes, but look with our hearts of what we want to experience in our world, and just walk in that, the faith that God has won, and we just are experiencing it's like Satan doesn't want to give up, right? So I know God has won in our world. So the more we love each other. So and by the way, my underlying message in anything that I'm doing is unconditional love. Love, 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 love. And love, and the harder they are to love, the more they need it.
That's right. That's exactly right.
Okay, we get that, right? So
yes.
Oh, yeah.
Love them
Lisa's
anyway.
Definitely back here agreeing with you. Yeah, knucklehead over here. Yeah. I love you to death. Yeah.
So truly, but
Right?
if
Jesus said, right, the greatest of all is love. Love your neighbor. Love as I loved you. Love is the greatest, and I think that's one of the things that the world is missing. I think that we need more love, for sure. More love of each other, our neighbors, even our spouses and children. I think so many people are so busy. They don't give the love. They don't give the touch. And I think that's a problem, the disconnect. And then, like you said, the social media makes that division, because we know the devil, man, he's here to kill, steal, and destroy. And
divide and conquer.
Right. All he needs is a crack, and he gets in there and boom. And then all of a sudden, chaos, right? And I love what you have here. You say you can't change the world, but you can change your world, and that changes the world. I definitely say that all the time. I say, you can't change other people, but you can change yourself. And then when other people see that around you, then they start to change. And they go, man, whatever he's got, I want some of that. Right? But if we're bitter and angry and ugly, and then we call ourselves a Christ follower, people go, I don't want to be like him. I want to be like her. Oh.
So one of the little quotes something I wrote in my little book is called Unconditional Love, Unconditional Forgiveness, but not unconditional boundaries. Okay, so I want people to recognize when you love somebody, you can love them as a child of God that God created, because if God is love, he can't be not love, and he didn't create any junk. So the people that are not as lovable is because they don't know how to love themselves. And that's something I'm going to teach I'm teaching my grandkids, and I'm going to teach in this course, is that, bullies are victims too. Bullies, and I want my grandkids to understand that nobody can hurt their feelings without their permission.
That's right.
True.
And so I'm giving them tools to understand that and to protect themselves. These two little ones have had a really tough life already. Their mom died in a fire, and so there's a long story behind that. But they're incredibly beautiful and well-adjusted kids. So I'm very, very grateful for that. And they love learning. And so they wrote down what's over there? They wrote down a list of some of the tools that I've already given them, right? So just one of them is, nobody can hurt your feelings or hurt you with words without your permission. we can learn that when somebody does something against us, it's usually more about them. In fact, it's nearly always more about them than it is about you. And what if we taught that? What if the kids could have empathy instead of being offended? We're living in a world that everybody is, the spirit of offense is alive and well. And I call it the Jerry Springer mentality. I'm right, you're wrong. And there's no discourse anymore. There's no conversation. And, you think the world's flat, I think it's round. Isn't that interesting? Isn't that interesting? I would like to know why you think that. How did you come to that conclusion? What if we actually had conversation instead of arguing all the time, right? So
we can agree to disagree.
And absolutely.
They were saying back in the day for a reason. We can agree to disagree, but boy, like you said, you really don't see that too much anymore. People basically, if you don't agree with what I said, then I'm cutting you off. I'm blocking you. I'm going to unfollow you. I'm going to blah, blah. And you're like, goodness gracious, where did all that come from?
Right. And another thing that I really loved when I really came to this, I don't have to know. I don't have to know very much. I don't have to know all the details. And I gave up all attachment to drama. Those two things happened at the end of 2013. I'm like, no, I just don't do drama, and I don't have to know. I just get to be. I don't have to strive very hard. I get to just love and live and breathe and love people. And by the way, people are very attracted to that energy, right? That right. My prayers are let the light shine. Just let me be Jesus with skin on right here. So when that happens, people, I sometimes notice that, even service people that come to repair something at the house, they just kind of don't want to leave. I mean, it's like they like this energy that, because I love and accept them exactly as they are. Right. But, and once again, that doesn't mean no boundaries. I never staying in a bad relationship that is abusive or something along that line. But it doesn't mean, unconditional love, unconditional forgiveness. See, the forgiveness piece, often we have to forgive ourselves and forgive God before we can begin to think about forgiving someone else. But that's another it's the biggest thing. So it's, God, love God, love yourself, love others without judgment. And it always starts with gratitude, and it requires forgiveness. So.
Right. Yeah. Well, definitely. I love that, your whole mission is just like us, and it's just as servant, the servant of God. And that's what we say all the time is, whether we're making a podcast or making a video or writing a book, that everything that we do is about just serving God. And if we reach one person with one word of one message, then we've won. And, the last podcast I did, you mentioned that it was titled I Am. And that was just something that was on my heart. I got up and, I always talk about self-talk and things like that. And I just got up that morning and it was on my heart. God said, you just need to tell people, Mike, I am. And he was like, you just need to tell them. And like, literally, I was just making a podcast and not looking at anything. And he was just, I am this, I am that. And I just kept saying stuff. I am courageous. I am bold. I am strong. I am smart. I am talented. And I mean, he was just feeding me with these words. And it was so great. I found one of my pictures to kind of go with it for the podcast. And I put that as the picture. And it's a great circular picture with I am stuff. But God puts it on my heart. I put it out there. I hope somebody received it. So whenever you told me, I love that message the other day, Mike, because I say I am, and then I see all this. I'm like, isn't that amazing? And I know it's not coincidental when people always go, isn't that that's so coincidental. I'm like, no, that's on purpose.
There's no such thing. Right. It's divine is what I would call it. I call it divine. And along that line as well, my Nana Says So wait list that's up right now nanasays.com. You can, if you put in your name and email address, and at the bottom of it says Nana says no to spam. So I'm not one to be gonna mess with anybody in this. So it's a no obligation wait list, but it will send you an email that has Nana's declarations for living a joyful life of intentional significance. So basically, it's my declarations that I wrote a decade or two ago that I've said many times. And if you download it, you can print it out, and then I actually have a video in that same email that I read them to as well. But I'll just read, this is not the declarations, but this is at the top of them. And I think it says, because I am your child, God, I declare your promises. I proclaim and declare victory over my home and my life. My home shall be a place of joy, peace, simplicity, beauty, and love. I have everything I need to live in prosperity, which is complete peace. Everything I need, God has planted within me. I claim it now. And then I'm always on time. I'm always fully prepared, and I'm courageous. I'm confident, and I boldly choose excellence no matter what. So those are my declarations that you can just download if you choose to go to Nana Says So. And I'm also a coach, your courageous coach, and your inspired speaker, and then a published author, of course. So that's just a teeny bit about me, but I am, like I said, outrageously optimistic, and all this stuff going on right now. And I'm going to add something else. I last year, in the beginning of the year, I was like, be prepared, not scared. Be prepared, not scared. There's so much more going on than meets the eye. When all this crazy times started, I still believe that. Yeah. And I believe that there are two emotions. Every emotion comes to, if you peel it all back, it comes to either love or fear. And hate goes to fear. So the opposite of love is fear, not hate, in my estimation. Right. But if you have 1 ounce of fear, it is not of God. I'm not talking about being attacked by an animal. I'm talking about if you're walking around in fear of anything, your beliefs are so incredibly powerful. And if you believe, you're going to get something, your subconscious will attract it. So I don't believe I don't believe in getting sick, so I don't get sick. So that's not arrogance, it's authority. Jesus said, John 14:12, we can do what he did and even more. And I don't believe we're taught that in most of our churches. I believe religion has taken that out. Well, that was Jesus. No, he said we can do what he did and even more. So do I believe that? I do. I believe that. I walk in it. I feel like I can, I rebuke. I walk with the shield of protection around me. I walk with Psalms 91 all around me, in my car, my family, my house. I believe that we have the authority. My coaching program is about authority. It's about courage and authority to live in peace and prosperity. So CAP. And we have been taught that we don't have the authority to do that. And Jesus in Deuteronomy 7:15 and many other places, you shall be free of every disease. So I don't believe in getting sick, so I don't get sick. I believe if we would take the C word out of our vocabulary, there wouldn't be much of it left. I believe we focus on fear of getting something, and there you go, you get it, right? So
our focus goes where our energy flows.
Exactly. And all of this is
on, that's where the energy goes every time.
It attracts it. The law of attraction is real too. I mean, I know, The Secret and all that. They didn't go far enough. They didn't exactly explain how all that works. But God gave us that gift and God gave us an incredible immune system. God gave us everything we need. And that's in my declarations. Everything I need, God has planted within me, and I claim it now.
There you go. That's amazing. That's good stuff. Well, I want to put a tag on here at the bottom. It says, as a personal development junkie, an information magnet, there's never nothing to do. Only time. I love that. Always have
never nothing to do.
And then it says, my motivation, leave the world a better place, as my mama always says. And man, that's always good right there if you can leave with something mama says. So, Miss Charla, tell us a nugget of wisdom and something that you want to leave the listeners with. I mean, you've already given us lots of great stuff, and I hope they really listen to this message and then listen to it again and get a pencil out and write some things down. But what's something, just last thing before we wrap it up, from your heart that you just absolutely want our listeners to know?
Yeah. I have a saying, when intriguing opportunities present themselves and you say yes, things show up. So I said yes when you offered this opportunity to be here, and I'm so grateful and blessed beyond measure. In my book as well, there's a story about a stove repair guy. And anyway, I came up with this to him at the end. I said, because he was just ranting on, and I was like, what if you send them love? And he was like, love.
Right.
They did this and this and this. I'm like, okay, how's that working for you?
Right.
So the thing that you can't change the world, but you can change your world, which changes the world. So we have got, in these crazy times, we've got to, as you said earlier, love our neighbors. Let's get out. I told that gentleman, I said, he's ranting at a TV all day, all the time. And I said, what if you picked up a piece of trash? What if you took coffee to a neighbor? What if you just reached outside of yourself? Because he had said he didn't have any friends.
Right.
And by the way, as he left, I said, do you mind if I give you a hug? And he was on the way to the truck. And I said, do you mind if I give you a hug? And he said, this is the first hug I've had in over 5 years.
Isn't that incredible?
That story's in my little book. And
we once heard, everybody needs 4 hugs a day. And I mean, I don't even think that's enough, but there's so many people in the world that don't get touched, don't get loved. And I tell my girls, not everybody's mom or nana talks to them and brings them up in the same way. And so you have to be the bigger, better person as far as integrity and morals, and understand that person has troubled times. And then you just pray for them. And it's hard for them to understand, but you just plant those seeds and then you water them and they grow.
Well, everyone has a story, and that's what my tiny book is about. And, I started buying candy bars for the checkout person, right, instead of the big bucks person behind me, which, I find. But, back in the day where a lot of that was going on, people were buying, coffee for the people behind them. And I started thinking the people in front of them was what, at the checkout, those minimum wage people at the grocery, there. Right. So I started offering a candy bar, and then, do you mind if I give you a hug? And then stories came out about that. And that's why I wrote that little book. Right. But just it's a pay it forward type of a book. And I would love, you guys to check it out. I don't mind sending autographed copies, but that's where we met too, right? So we had met Michael Butler, and I've not really done more as much as I want to with him. But what that was at the red carpet event. What a blast that was.
Beyond Publishing red carpet event. Yeah. I was there with my book, Speak Your Way to Success, and Alyssa was there with her book, Finding Diamonds, and we got to meet some amazing people like you and Dee Dee Cox and just all these phenomenal people from all over, Charla Frost and the coach, Stephen. I mean, just all these amazing people that we got to meet and hear stories and spend time with. And so it was so great to, meet everybody there. And so definitely I was making a list the other day and just of folks I wanted to get on the podcast, and boom, your name was right on my list. I had about 10 names on my list, and you were right in that top 10. And I was like, I need to start making invitations out because I wanted to do that last year. So I was like, I got to get Miss Charla on here and hear her story and get others to hear her story as well, because I loved it. When I heard it that day, I was like, that's so great. Candy bars and hugs. It doesn't get any better than that. So, well, guys, we're going to post all these links again for the books and her YouTube page and nanasaysso.com and all that good stuff. And Miss Charla, we thank you for coming on the show, and I love the intriguing opportunity that you gave us to have you on, and the awesome information that you spread, and the love that you give to the world. And I hope that you guys listen to this. I always say, whenever you hear us talk, and you can hear our guests, just like Miss Charla, you can hear the passion in her voice. The love comes through. Passion comes from love. And when you can hear that coming through, I hope that moves you. It touches your heart. That heart thumps, and you just say, yes, I have a purpose. And these words just come to you, and you say, I need to be more like this. And I need to be like Charla and say, I am bold faith, no fear. I am outrageously optimistic. I am prepared. I am abundantly generous. When you say these things, you're manifesting, as Ms. Charla pointed out, what you want to happen in your life. So, Ms. Charla, thank you so much for being on the podcast with us today. We're so blessed to have you on, and good luck with nanasaysso.com. That's going to change so many lives, and we can't wait to check it out ourselves.
Yeah, and keep being contagious.
Thank you. It's been awesome. I appreciate you so much.
Absolutely. Well, I always wrap it up, guys, by saying one of my famous Zig Ziglar quotes, and it's my favorite one. And it's always, you can have everything you want in life if you just help enough others get what they want and need. And then I wrap it up with the golden rule. Remember to treat others as you want to be treated. If we did that, we would live in a much better world. So, Ms. Charla, again, thank you so much for being on the podcast. For all those listening, until next time, have a blessed day and a blessed week. And remember, you are born to succeed. Bye-bye. We want to thank everyone so much for taking the time to listen to the Born to Succeed podcast with Michael and Alyssa Merritt. We know that you have a very busy schedule, and we appreciate you taking time out of your day to spend time with us. You can find us at Merritt Coaching Group on YouTube, Facebook. You can email us at merrittcoachinggroup@gmail.com. We want to remind you that you can have everything you want in life if you just help enough others get what they want and need. Remember to follow the golden rule. You can have everything you want. Yeah, but you got to do what? Treat others as you want to be treated. So until next time, have a very blessed day. From Michael and Alyssa Merritt.